of getting stuck.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Calling to order the Municipality of Monroeville's Citizens Night and Agenda Setting Meeting for January 3rd, 2023. It is approximately 7:10 p.m. If you'd all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Could I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Griesbach?
Here.
Mr. Hizzy?
Here.
Mr. Poach?
Here.
Mr. Stevenson?
Here.
Mr. Wolfram?
Here.
Mr. Adams?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Biondo?
Here.
Mr. Little?
Here.
Mr. Ratcher?
Here.
Ms. Rock?
Here.
Mr. Hugus?
Here.
Mr. Sedlak?
Here.
Mr. Weldon?
Here. Welcome and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I'm going to open the floor for citizens' remarks and comments on any municipal item. Seeing none, we're going to close that comment period and move over to our agenda-setting meeting. I have an executive session announcement. The council conducted an executive session before tonight's Citizens' Night on Tuesday, January 3rd, from 6:15 to approximately 7 p.m. for personnel and litigation reasons. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at the Tuesday, January 10th council meeting. That is incorrect on the agenda. Council, moving over to the minutes for you to consider. Next Tuesday, the 10th, is the Citizens' Night minutes of December 6th, 2022, the council agenda-setting meeting of December 6th, 2022, and the regular council meeting of December 13th, 2022. Any questions or comments regarding those minutes, council? Very good. Reports of the tax collections. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Moving on to our list of bills and budget transfers. Any questions or comments, council? Very good. And the payroll report. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Moving over to our consent agenda, we have one resolution for consideration. Mr. Little.
Yeah, this is a resolution adopting the Loda Beat Code Development Sewage Planning Module. This is from the development that was approved last year, and it's a sewage planning module that goes to the DEP. Routine stuff.
Any questions, council? Very good. We have two ordinances to be considered next Tuesday. Mr. Ratcher.
First ordinance is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, prohibiting the feeding of wild animals and providing penalties for violation of such regulations. This was put on the table at the December 13th meeting. Just an update for you, Mayor. I did speak with the ACO today, and he has no issue with the ordinance as presented.
Okay, very good. And just for council and for the public's information, I mean, this is something that came about for a couple reasons, but what was really the genesis of it, was we had a coyote attack a pet, a dog, and which led to discussions with the Game Commission, the Pennsylvania Game Commission, and they are in the area all throughout Pennsylvania. And one of the issues that they tend to follow the game trails or the food trails and feeding trails of deer that are being unnaturally fed. So the Game Commission really advises against wildlife feeding for many reasons. It's bad for the deer, it's bad for the animals, it spreads disease, it harms the habitat. There's a whole host of problems why the Game Commission is against wildlife feeding, and currently we don't have any kind of way to solve these problems if we get them. I see this as an ordinance of not one to be, checking on every individual. It's maybe, throwing some bread to some birds, because there are some stipulations for bird feeders. But whenever we do have some issues that arise in some of the neighborhoods, currently our ACO doesn't have any way to fix these problems. So I see this as a good solution to give the ACO a little more power, so to speak, to deal with some of the situations that arise. So any comments or any other further comments or questions about that? Very good. We have a second ordinance to be considered for next Tuesday. Mr. Ratcher.
Second ordinance is an ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, authorizing, the proper officials of Monroeville to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with the Police Department Wage Policy Committee of the Municipality of Monroeville for the contract years 2023 through 2026.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, very good. Mr. Ratcher, we'll move over to reports of staff. Do you have anything for this evening?
Nothing, as you can tell, I'm a little short on voice, so we're gonna,
We're all happy about that.
I know that.
Okay.
Outside these walls, also, people are happy about it.
Mr. Little, anything for this evening?
I have one item, and I gave council a memo on the dais at the stations here. I was contacted by PennDOT a few months ago, and I mentioned at last month's meeting, PennDOT is going to be paving and reconstructing medians, which we've had a lot of complaints about the median strip on Route 22, and also constructing the shoulders of the road. And PennDOT did on the eastern part from Mosside Boulevard, Route 48, which is Mosside Boulevard East, down towards Murraysville. Now they're going to do the same thing from the Churchill exit past Rodi Road all the way up to Mosside Boulevard. Now, one of the things that they've called me about is that we have an active transportation program, which is for multimodal transportation, which deals with sidewalks, bike lanes, and things of that nature. And they wanted to know if we wanted to put in sidewalks, because the most feasible place to put them in is near the Monroeville Mall, up going past the mall, under the underpass, and going up towards Monroeville Ford and Dunham's. It's very difficult there because there's a wall to deal with there. But they did suggest maybe you could, under your active transportation program, put in sidewalks at the Monroeville Mall. And I have given council a depiction of where those sidewalks would go. Could you put that up there, Jared?
There you are, get her up.
Where the, and so the public can see also, and council can see better with the memo I gave to them. These sidewalks would be going right in front of the mall, right coming off, you're coming off of what's called the Hall Station Bridge past Coles. There's already sidewalks there.
Yes.
But if you get up towards the mall, there are no sidewalks. But as you go under the underpass, you get up towards Monroeville Ford, the right-of-way gets a little dicey right there, and it gets very, very tight because there's telephone poles there. And further up near Dunham's, as I mentioned, there's a retaining wall that would have to be dealt with. Now, I contacted Tom Gerber, the manager for the mall, and he contacted his parent company, CBL, who owns the mall, and they are not interested in maintaining the sidewalks nor taking on the liability of the sidewalks. So if council, and Jared has some pictures up there that he has taken on where these sidewalks would go. And that's looking west right there, so they would go in that area right there.
From here to here.
And so if council wanted to put in these sidewalks, we would have to maintain them, and we would have to assume the liability, because even though this is PennDOT's right-of-way, their policy is anytime sidewalks or anything like that is put in, it's assumed by the municipality, and then it's between the municipality and the property owner who takes on the maintenance and the liability of them.
Which we also have to find handy.
So now they are going to be letting contracts for this project at the end of this month. They were supposed to let them in December, but they had a hold-up, and we weren't the hold-up or anything. But they had a hold-up, and so now they're going to let them out at the end of January. But they would like to have a decision possibly by the end of this week, or possibly at your council meeting next Tuesday. Any questions or
Yeah,
comments?
Tim, has anyone done a study on what it would cost us to do that?
Well, okay, I'm sorry, I left out one of the important part. There's a match here, and they would, it's a 20% match, and and that's on in the memo I gave to you. You can see it's laid out on what our responsibility would be. So there's a 20% match. Actually, it'd be about $100,000 to do that, but it'll cost us $23,000. It's a 20% match that PennDOT would put into their contract, and that's all we would be responsible for. And there's a minor issue, too, that they have to do some reconstruction on some curb ramps, some ADA ramps up near McMaster Roads, and that would cost approximately close to $1,200, which is somewhat minor, and I think we should move ahead and do that. I don't think that's an issue right there, but the more the issue is the sidewalks near the mall.
Do we have any funds in our sidewalk fund
Yeah, we have, sure.
to do this?
Yeah.
I don't think we should get involved with putting being responsible for sidewalks on 22 if we have to maintain them and have the liabilities that come with it.
I agree, Michael. Are there other places in Monroeville where, along PennDOT roads or any other road that we maintain?
About the bridge right here, that
That we're
sidewalk.
supposed to maintain?
We're supposed to maintain that?
This bridge and the bridge from 130 to Norfolk Hills,
We're
two
supposed to
bridges.
maintain those sidewalks?
yes.
I think sidewalks are always a good idea, and, we spent a lot of time with the active transportation plan to identify these situations. That was an area that was identified with the active transportation plan that was approved by previous council. And I think this is a way for $20,000, actually, we're getting $100 and some thousand of value to get sidewalks. We have our new zoning ordinances coming up that we're gonna be approving. So long-term, as far as the mall development, we don't know what's gonna be at the mall, or how, if the mall will be changing in any way. And I think this is a good way to plan for the future, and I think when we get an opportunity to try to make things a little more pedestrian-friendly, because people still walk. Even these spots where we're outlining here, if you drive by, you're gonna see paths of where people have walked. Certainly whenever the snow falls, you can see where people are walking. So there's definitely is a fair amount of foot traffic in these areas, and sidewalks certainly make it safer for those individuals. So, I would encourage council to move forward on this, and this is an opportunity to get it done for a pretty nominal amount of money, and money that we already have possibly planned for already in our sidewalk fund.
Well, let me go back to my question. How much is in the sidewalk fund?
Offhand, I don't know if Joe, do you have any idea?
It's probably less than $5,000.
Oh, is that all? Okay, I thought we had more than that.
think it's an issue of
I
the-
would have to look it up, but it's,
It's an issue of liability, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not the issue of putting them in.
Liability
If
issue.
we're gonna be liable.
Maintaining
for
them, yeah.
The maintenance,
they don't
and
get taken.
We gotta send a
Somebody
salt
gets-
truck down there to plow them and salt them in the
Yep.
wintertime?
that's.
Well, they'd
that
have,
could
well, I
be
don't know
the
if you have a
problem.
truck, it would be,
Get a plow going
Well, I'm
there.
telling you, you gonna send a crew down there to shovel them and salt them every week? Just that little section? They don't
Well,
build
also
a
too,
bridge?
just because the mall says they don't want to assume liability, that doesn't mean they can't assume liability. I mean, that's a Monroeville policy as well.
Mall
That'd
doesn't
be-
do
that'd be
much for us.
difficult.
Why should we do for them?
Well, next time that mall comes in for something, we'll have a sidewalk agenda for them.
That's right.
Do we have a drawing on the let's,
a
we
good
could not, the
point,
mall's obviously our point of conversation for this week, but anything on where's the McMasters? Do we have a drawing on that?
no, they didn't supply a drawing, that's just on the curb ramps.
I know, it
There's only, I don't think it's only two of the curb ramps that McMaster's
Yeah,
is 22.
there's curb, there's sidewalks here, but they didn't put the hand.
It's not sidewalks, that's the,
They just need the curb
That's the-
cut,
that's the
curb cut for ADA, for the ADA.
well, that's just the depression part, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all they're gonna do.
All right, so that's no big issue with
Yeah,
anybody,
that's
right?
not an issue.
They're just fixing what's already there, okay.
Yeah.
So
That's
could-
off the tape.
So with Mr. Wheeldon, so any kind of site development, sidewalks are required.
Correct.
So in this area, so where does the line as far as so mall development, where would that trigger sidewalks on 22?
Good question, since most of it's already developed, they would have to come in with some kind of a land development plan that would trigger that. There's really no specific acreage requirement, it would just be a land development plan.
Wouldn't it have to be front, for instance, if we would use, 10 years ago or so, when they put the movie theaters in down there, that did not trigger it.
It maybe could have.
It could have, yeah, because usually it's frontage on where the development is.
It's all one parcel.
Yeah,
But like the VA hospital that's going in, they put sidewalks in around their parcel within the mall.
okay.
So they've added quite a bit of sidewalks.
Because that was a separate parcel, though.
Yeah,
They s-
They did a subdivision.
That's
Yeah.
more of a safety issue there, too.
Well, it's a safety issue on 22 as well.
Yeah.
But the VA is gonna maintain those sidewalks. I
Right.
mean, that's their responsibility.
We don't want to maintain, nor do we want the liability of the sidewalks on 22.
It's the liability, more of a question.
Yep.
I would say tell them all that if they don't want to take liability, next time I come in for a development, they're gonna take it all and pay for it too. Now that'd be free for them.
You can't do all that, Bob. No, you can't do that.
Noble thought, Mr. Williams, a noble
Well,
thought. but I don't think
currently, at any, let's forget this issue. If we were to put sidewalks anywhere, and whether this is, whoever wants to answer this question, whether it's from that end or these two guys. So if we were to put sidewalks, let's say in a residential area, we can put sidewalks in a right-of-way. The municipality can.
It depends, well, I'll give you the lawyer answer, it depends.
Thanks.
As always.
That helps.
Easements, rights-of-way are narrowly construed. So if you have an easement or a right-of-way, it may say that you can put certain things in, other things you can't put in.
Utilities.
And what may happen is that people, somebody challenging that could potentially stop you from putting sidewalks in if sidewalks were not among the things that were permitted. Now, generally speaking, most people in the area are gonna look at a sidewalk as an improvement. And so they're probably willing to look the other way on that. So, but you can't say for sure that that's the case.
But if we were to put sidewalks anywhere else on 22 in front of a business or require that in an area, wouldn't we also place the liability on the property owner that has the sidewalk running through it?
Yes.
Right.
That-
Yes.
yeah.
When I want to clarify my answer too. I was talking mainly about municipal rights of way and easements.
Okay.
Because obviously, when you get onto 22, that's a different animal, being that the state really is controlling the play there, and then they're throwing all the maintenance responsibilities and liability onto the municipality.
And the municipality sidewalk ordinance requires the businesses and/or the residents to maintain sidewalks in front of their
Yeah.
structures.
It's just a matter of, we were talking, what triggers the fact, Nick's talking about, we have a sidewalk program. We're gonna put sidewalks in a 5-year program, 10-year program. We're putting sidewalks on every residential Monroeville street. What does that, so that means that the residential property owner is going to be taking the responsibility for that. And Bob, you're saying is that can be challenged.
Well, it could possibly be challenged. I think the bigger issue, though, is on the municipal streets, if we were to do that, the minute we do it, the responsibility for maintaining that becomes that of the property owner.
Correct.
And we have some natural immunity with respect to injuries that occur on those things.
But we're not saying that right now.
We're not, yeah.
We're not saying that. But what I'm hearing is that if we or PennDOT or whoever put sidewalks on 22 in the permitted easement or right-of-way, wherever those sidewalks were, that property owner, in this case, the mall, would be the ones liable.
Yes.
In their letter, they're saying they don't want to assume liability and maintenance, but they're just saying that. But
And how does this fall
The
into
liability
us,
falls
I
on
guess is the I think the question we're getting at here. How does it fall, how does liability fall to us when we don't, I mean, it's not our,
PennDOT,
it's PennDOT's road, right?
PennDOT, otherwise known as the department, has found a way to pass their liability on to everybody else. Every traffic signal.
Right.
We assume the liability for that traffic signal once it's installed. Same thing with things like sidewalks, water collection structures, all that stuff. We essentially have to assume the responsibility for a lot of that.
Is this item something that would require a motion and a vote by the council?
on Tuesday, not tonight.
But it would, yeah, I didn't mean tonight.
Yeah.
but it
I mean,
would
it's always a
require-
good thing. I mean, if you wanted to move ahead with it, I mean, they would like, I mean, because they're letting out, they can put this in as an addendum, even after the contract is awarded, I'm sure they can. But I just spoke with the engineer today. He said, Tim, we'd like to have a decision by the end of the week. He says, and I know, and he knew a month ago that I would be discussing this with you guys this evening. But he'd like to have a decision as soon as we can.
Well, I would encourage council to think about this more between now and Tuesday. And I think, whether you want to review the active transportation plan, Mr. Little can furnish that to you. And I think it's a good opportunity. We're going to have a new road on 22. I think it's a good opportunity to take advantage of that construction time. I don't know when the last time that road was repaved. It's not going to happen again for quite some time. So now's a good opportunity to take advantage of this situation. So
Years ago.
council, think about it, and we'll get Mr. Little some direction on Tuesday.
So it's not gonna be this week.
It's okay, that's quite all right.
Yeah.
And that concludes my report. I wish everybody a happy 2023, better than 2022.
Very good. Mr. Hugus,
Tim always takes my time. I'm good.
we'll start with you on Tuesday. How about that?
There you go.
Perfect.
There you go.
Ms. Rock,
I don't have anything.
very good.
Short session.
And reports of our council members, Mr. Hizzy.
Yeah, a couple of things, Mayor. I'd like to congratulate Darlene. Today was her last day. That's great. Thank you for your service, and I'll miss talking to you, Dart. Second thing, Mr. Sedlak, happy birthday. I know tomorrow's your birthday tomorrow, old man.
29.
29, two
And a
times
lot-
over.
And a lot of money.
That's it for me, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Poach,
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Mr. Stevenson.
I just have one item. I made a New Year's resolution, and I would like to see everyone else in the world make this resolution. Let's try to be kinder to each other in 2023 than we were in 2022. That's all I have, Mayor.
It's a great suggestion, Mr. Stevenson. Mr. Wolfram.
Well, I have really nothing other than happy birthday. And I wish everybody a happy new year.
I'm not ready to
Mr. Adams.
Yeah, I'd like to wish all the Orthodox Christians Merry Christmas on January 7th. And
That's right.
condolences to the McIntyre family from
Brackenridge.
the policeman that was murdered yesterday morning. I would send my condolences to the family, and, we ought to be thanking our police officers. They have a thankless job, and a lot of people don't realize what they just want to put their 8 hours in and go home to their families too, and sometimes it's not possible. That's it.
Mr. Williams.
Well, I want to wish everybody a happy new year, and if you see something, say something. Personally, I'd rather hear it twice than not at all. So don't feel bad calling municipal people and reporting whatever you see. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Biondo.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Mike, and all the other Orthodox Christians. Happy birthday, Joe. I do have one thing. The Parks and Rec brochure is out. I think Jared might have at least the front screen for you. The program guide is out. You can find it on the Parks and Recs portion of the Monroeville website or at Monroeville PA Parks Facebook page. It is a good follow. It does have a number of the things that the Parks Department does. Also, the swimming lesson deadline has been extended, so it's not too late to sign up for those lessons. The other thing I'd bring up that I noticed is the pavilion rentals for this year. Get them early while you still can. And that's all I have. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mr. Biondo. I'll echo what everyone already said. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Mike, and the Serbian faith. Congratulations to Darlene, Mr. Sedlak, happy birthday. And then, and on a somber note, just wanted to express my condolences to the Al Hess family, Al Hess, our employee, on the loss of his father. So with that, I want to seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you and good night.
Almost a world record.